Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing this morning? Good. Our first speaker today is Cynthia Novak. She needs no introduction, in my opinion. She's very, very accurate. At least she has been with me. She's going to be talking today about Astrology You. She's going to share her insights on how planetary alignments can affect your life. She combines 20 years of astrological spiritual study to bring you practical, heart-centered information. Please help me welcome Cynthia Novak.
I have a little funny aside. I think that for the maybe 9-10 years that we've been doing this, it's been 20 years. So I suspect it's 30 now. Anyway, and you can tell by the large font printout. So, did you know tomorrow is a lunar eclipse? Lunar eclipses, in a sense, are kind of exciting. It's kind of like the month of October. I don't know about the rest of you. I get autumn fever, gets a little cooler, at least you know it's not going to be 100 degrees forever. And there's an excitement building. Well, when you come to a lunar eclipse, it's an emotional feeling. It's intense, it pulls you, and it's like, I don't know about the rest of you, but this has been the emotional summer. Everywhere you turn, it seems like there's one disaster, one big thing after another. And I had to stop and think about what might this mean? What might this mean? Is life disaster, or is it on some level we are getting fed this incredible dose of emotional disaster so that we can put it into perspective to see what really is the big stuff and what is the little stuff? I don't know, but I suspect that's part of it. Well, the lunar eclipse won't be visible. It's actually about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. But we will be able to participate in it in a sense because the moon is our perceptions. The moon is the way we tend to experience things. Monday is the moon's day. Did you know that the days of the week were named for the planets? Today is the sun's day, Monday's the moon's day. Well, tomorrow morning, the moon moves into this beautiful lunar mansion. And all a lunar mansion is the ancients in India would look at the heavens and they would say, the moon moves across the heavens equal distance every 24 hours. It's very perfect. It's very rhythmic in many respects, while our emotions may not be. And they started to stop and they would name them and they would give them deities. They're lesser deities. They're old. This is probably the oldest of all astrologies. And this particular lunar mansion is called Ashwini. Well, my Sanskrit is not really good, but it's Ashwini. And this particular place is the beginning, or new beginning. We come to this point once every month, and to have a lunar eclipse there as we leave this summer of such intense emotional exhaustion brings us to a point of catharsis or rebirth. The Ashwins were these magical horses that literally ride across the heavens every morning. And what they do is they bring in the dawn, or they bring in a fresh start. So in many respects, this lunar eclipse tomorrow morning gives each of us the opportunity to start fresh and to let go of the past, to really stop and see what's the big stuff and maybe what's the little stuff. There's plenty of big stuff out there, but in our days it's important to slow down and appreciate the little things, the little pleasures. The sun has to be opposite the moon for a lunar eclipse because literally the earth blocks the reflection of the sun on the moon. It comes right between them. And so if the earth is matter, the moon is emotion and perceptions, the sun is life force, it's passion, it's energy, it's adrenaline. And so the sun literally falls in the lunar mansion called Chitra, or it is a hand holding a gemstone or a pearl, the ability to know that there's good stuff inside, to know that there's good stuff inside. And if you get nothing else out of this session, there is the promise within the next 24 hours that you can set the emotional junk aside, turn off the frenetic, nasty news channel, and realize that there is, each day we are given the gift to start over. And it is up to us individually to take that. With the lunar eclipse, we get more oomph with it. And if that's not enough, the sun isn't by itself in the heavens right now. The sun sits right next to Jupiter. You can't see Jupiter in the heavens because the sun is so close right now. You can't see Mars. He's really strong. And we see him all over the news. But you can't see Jupiter. And Jupiter has literally, this month, begun a path of finding good things, finding happiness, finding some sort of special nugget. Jupiter's legal system, Jupiter's the law, Jupiter is luck, Jupiter is optimism. And right now we see the law in the heavens going on a lot. I have to tell you this funny little astrological aside. Astrologers are strange people. We're sitting there, instead of watching TV, we're sitting there looking to find somebody's birthday. What astrologer somewhere is going to find out when Ronnie Earl's date of birth was, when DeGuerin's date of birth was, Can somebody get Tom DeLay's mother to cough up his time of birth, Funny thing. DeGuerin is representing Tom DeLay, right? Ronnie Earl is representing Travis County, state of Texas, and they're going to court. And first time is October 21st. Funny thing is, DeGuerin and Earl were only born a week apart. Their charts are amazingly similar. Both of them have good stuff going on. Both of them have hard stuff going on. This isn't going to end on the 21st. Tom DeLay's chart is good, but it's not that good. It's also not that bad. So you're going to see this drag on. And it's going to depend on you whether or not you want to invest in it or let it go. A lot of people are sending DeLay lots of money. He's really good. He's got big Jupiter. He's really good at that, but you'll see it drag on. Anyway, back to the present time. In India, when a planet comes to the very, very end of a constellation that is what they would say ruled by water, it is considered to be Gandanta, or a place of death by drowning. Pluto has been there since the beginning, well, actually since the very end of 2004. Pluto, planet of death, god of the underworld. He's been there for the whole year, and he's finally going to leave at the end of December. That's worth celebration. It's worth making note, and, it's up to each of us to kind of let some of the pain go and enjoy the present for now, but know that there's going to be a collective as we go into the new year. What does that mean for the Constitution in Iraq? They get it. They get it. There is, believe it or not, going to be a dissipation of the violence as we go into the beginning of the new year. If you need something to be excited about or to appreciate the little things we take for granted, what was it I read? Out of 15 million people in Iraq, 10 million voted. Can you imagine if two-thirds of us, if two-thirds of us voted, anyway, possibilities are there. It's coming in the most amazing places. But again, it's up to us to turn away from disaster and toward and experience the catharsis. Disaster literally means away. Aster, stars, to turn away from the stars. You will have a disaster if you turn away from the stars. But anyway, seriously, it is our time for new beginning. So let me ask you one question, since we only have a limited time here. What's the big thing on your mind in the news right now? And if I have an answer, I will tell you. What's the big thing?
Oprah highlighting the sexual offenders.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't watched Oprah in ages. So
She just started about a week ago, and on Friday she is going to highlight pictures and stories about sexual offenders, and will give $100,000 to anyone who turns one in and they get convicted.
Okay, so you want to talk about a shift in polarity? Bill O'Reilly factor started this. Oprah Winfrey, probably very different politically. They're bringing this to the surface. It is no longer considered a victimless crime. Now here's your Pluto-Mars. If Mars is masculine sexual energy and Pluto is catharsis, turning it over, you're no longer waiting for the process. We're seeing tougher laws, we're seeing it go through, but you're also seeing people from the far left, or from the left and the right, working together without changing their political affinities. You also see that in shows like The West Wing. If you haven't been watching it, it comes on Sunday nights. It's fabulous right now. Commander-in-Chief, you see they're going nonpartisan, they're going independent, and they're leading us to a new beginning, Okay.
That is for a child sexual.
Right. I got it. Okay. So, I think, what is it, Jessica's Law or something like that, minimum 25 years, they're trying to push that through across the board. You destroy the lives of children, you're going to pay. But the interesting thing here, you see, is the left and the right coming together in action. Okay. Harriet Myers. Again, don't know her time of birth. Can say that I bet, looking at the date of birth, that she will be confirmed. Can say that it will be a long, drawn-out confirmation process. Can say that she will surprise the people who are screaming against her right now. If I were going to pick somebody, I think Roberts will be really good, looking at his chart, and he really came across well. I suspect that she's sort of a good, steady replacement for Sandra Day O'Connor. Amazingly similar. Okay. So we have this catharsis, we have this excitement going on, and we also have a challenge to each of us to take a breath before we emotionally respond and see if what we're saying or doing will take us forward or backward. I moderate a big astrology forum, or it's a real well-known one. It's totally an act of service. And you see people go in there and just fight over political things. I mean, things, you said this. I pulled up in the archives from 2003, and you said this. It's crazy, but it's a microcosm of what's going on. So right now, it is a challenge with the Pluto-Mars to stop, to take a breath before you emotionally respond, to reflect not on what he did, but on where your desired goal is. Mars is a powerful action planet. He's very close to the Earth right now. You don't need me to tell you. You can look out in the night sky and you can see it. And it seems to correspond with anything heightened that Mars has to deal with. And so, war, action, commerce, all of those things. And when Mars appears to go backwards, things tend to slow down. When he appears to stop, as he will in mid-December, and go forward, then they seem to speed up again. So what can you expect economically is lots of bad news between now and mid-December. People are, it's going to be a bear, it's going to be a bear, it's going to be a bear, it's going to be a bear. What can you expect by the time we get to mid-January? Oh, well, look, it's still a bull. G. So the thing is to look at it individually, to not be reckless, to look at it individually and know whether or not you can trust the voices that you're hearing. Because when Mars is going backwards, we're all going to Hades, and there doesn't seem to be an end of supply of room in that rowboat. However, when he goes forward, we're all ready to go. And so if you are an active investor, you may want to take some money out of those things. If I knew about money, I'd probably, be living in a garden. But if you are the kind of person who is very wise about money, then you may want to take your money out of those things that feel questionable right now. Hold it, and then wait until you start to see it come back to life in January. Again, now we all know that at the end of the year people do take their profits. But this year it will probably be more dramatic just because of the fear factor. Likewise, the enthusiasm factor will be more dramatic as we get to February. Okay? And that is a microcosm of what's going on inside of us. We'd just like a break right now. But in February we're ready to start something new. Time to go. Let's do it. Let's move. So, in the beginning of February, after 6 long months, the war planet finally moves out of his most powerful place. And it's time to rebuild after it, whether it be in Iraq or whether it be in your personal life, whatever. You may ask, why wait till February? What is the standing line? Shut up first and then speak, or think before you speak. Well, that would be very wise now. Most of the gift of this particular time as we end this year is we're just exhausted with people screaming around us. And so our perspective, our perceptions are clear because we're not so easy to respond. Okay. Easy to respond to the negative. So, if you think you're feeling lucky and you have a planet anywhere in Libra, whether it be your Vedic chart or your Western chart, this is the coming 12 months are basically yours. You get the good stuff. If you know your Vedic chart, Jupiter, the lucky planet, right now is at 4 and he's racing forward. If you know your Western chart, right now Jupiter is sitting right at about 28 of Libra and he's racing forward. So even Scorpios who don't feel like you get much of anything, get the good stuff coming. And when we get to the beginning of March next year, and Jupiter appears to stop, what happens is we condense it. We condense the optimism not only for the market, but in our lives and in our actions. It's just easier to be happy. And it's hard right now with all the images of hurricanes and things like that. It's hard to experience that, but yet I challenge you, because Mars is very good at daring, I dare you to seek out the good stuff now and not wait. Early next spring, it's easy for everybody to see. Did anybody have any other questions? Big people in the news, that sort of thing? Yes?
Hurricane Wilma.
You know what? I don't know anything about how to predict hurricanes. I'm sorry. There are people who do, but I don't. All I can say is if you are here, Pluto is in this really tough place for drownings. Mars is tied in there with it. For the next week to 10 days. Pluto's there until mid-December. Probably going to be destructive. Yes?
Rebuilding in New Orleans.
Oh, exciting. And once we this Jupiter, this exciting Jupiter placement, it's funny, if you look at the chart of the original formation of New Orleans, the 1718 chart. It actually, we're talking about the French Quarter, all of that. The rebuilding should go very quickly. The rebuilding should be beautiful. There will be people in there focusing on how to make it as rich as it was, only safer, so that it is sort of a shining light. We may not see that. We may not see it videotaped in our homes until we get to the beginning of next year, right around Mardi Gras time. So, yeah, it's going to be that kind of movement. Will the evacuees go back? Probably some, but not all. It's an interesting thing to see all these busloads of people. It almost reminded me, it was almost analogous to the Great Depression, people going and traveling and trying to find out where they were going to be. And you have many of those people from the Great Depression moved from, say, the Western Plains, moved across country and things like that and started over. Well, you're seeing some of that now. Transplanted people starting over, people moving to New Orleans for jobs, people moving out of there for a different start with people who see them differently. There's a beautiful catharsis going on. I know it was more than what you asked for, but it's very, very exciting. I think if I was in any sort of building trade, I would be there with my RV, Good jobs for insurance adjusters. Anybody else? Yes, Phil.
Concerned about the potential of abridgment of freedoms in the political climate.
Vote. Get your butt out and vote. 10 million Iraqis. They can't do anything without us agreeing to it. And if we don't like it, we can vote them out in a couple of years. 10 million Iraqis. Didn't that touch you, the people? 10 million people. And that energy was so strong. It was one of the least violent days. So what does that say about the power of optimism? What does it say? Anyway, other questions? Nobody has any questions. Yes?
Okay. Is Osama bin Laden affected by the earthquake?
I think he's been dead for a while. So I'm a little biased. However, here we go. It's like, Interpol gives him one date of birth, someplace else gives him another date of birth, so it's really hard to say. I suspect that he has been dead for some time. They can't, they say they have his voice, but you can't really hear. However, it's very convenient now to say, yes, he's gone, in a sense. But yeah, I think he's gone. And I'm trying not to be too suspicious about who would want to keep him alive. They don't have a body, that's one thing. But no, I think he's gone. Anything else? I think I'm going to have to be quiet here in a second. Okay. When does Mercury go retrograde? Everybody wants to know this. Mercury, the planet of communication, appears in the heavens to go backwards from November 14th to December 3rd, and again March 2nd to March 25th. Why is this important? Well, we know a planet does not actually move backwards. But when a planet comes really close to the Earth, based on the Earth's tilt, it appears to go backwards from our perspective. And for millennia, people have noticed that during this period of time, we are easily confused. People forget things, lose their appointment book. If Mercury rules our mind, our cognitive ability, and it appears to be going backwards, what happens is our brains want a break. And about 3 to 4 times a year, our brains take a break for about 3 weeks. And so you find yourself heading down the freeway, and your brain doesn't really want to go to that appointment, and you're on the exit out into the country, and you're not sure how it happened. And so people easily forget numbers. Did you ever stand there and yell at your phone. You didn't, the cell phone clicked off. You didn't leave your whole cell phone number. You forgot the prefix, And during retrograde Mercury, it happens more often than ever. Computers tend to break. Your car that needed something really needs it. The phone, you drop the phone and all the pieces go. And so it's a really good time as we get closer, as we get to the beginning of November, to back everything up. Okay? It's a really good time to have a sense of humor and not get mad when you're the only person who shows up at the meeting. Because you just got an hour off. No. Yes?
2 questions.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to be the governor of Texas in 2021?
Oh, now that's a hard one for me to answer because I'm biased. It's not going to be Rick Perry. My bias, I've been thinking Carol Keaton Strayhorn since before she came forward. So, but I'm biased.
The other question, I 2 questions. What do you see for the economy of the United States as a whole? I mean, is it going to get better, or is it going to...
Do I think that the United States is the market going to tank? Is that what you're saying?
Things in general in this country, are they going to be better for the average citizen, or are they going to be about the same?
I guess that depends on each average citizen. To be perfectly honest with you, right now, the strength of Mars is really strong for capitalism. It's inordinately strong. And so capitalism requires that each person dig in. And so will there be job opportunities? Yes. Will entitlements be expanded? No. In fact, if you're looking at programs for poor, welfare, that sort of thing, that will continue to decrease.
The third thing, I said too, but this is really insignificant, but where do you think the Bush lobbyist is going to be?
Crawford.
No, I mean, it's going to be the SMU or Baylor or Tech or...
I would guess, although I haven't really thought about it, I would guess it would probably be at Baylor because he does so love his ranch. And that would be close.
His wife graduated SMU, that's why I was going to say.
I don't know. I don't know. Okay, one more, 30 seconds.
What are the retrograde dates again, Mercury retrograde?
November 14th to December 3rd, March 2nd to March 25th in the next 6 months. Yes?
Yes, there's something about Mars being retrograde right now.
Yes.
And then entitlement counting that he was talking about.
Yes.
Is that because Mars is retrograde right now and it will clear up after?
No, it's a trend. It's a trend that's going on. If you want better programs, you're going to have to create them. It is because every place I talk to people, whether it be out west or out east, people who work in city governments, people who work for the federal government, they don't have the money. They don't have the money. So it's not an individual thing. It's not a party thing. You can vote in the cuddly bear party, but the money just isn't there right now.
But it is for Iraq. It's not here.
There'll be great jobs in Iraq. Yes.
There's also a lot of talk about how the huge national debt that we have, and most of it's held by China, and also this great big bubble in the housing market is like lining up to be a perfect storm.
I don't believe any of it. I don't believe any of it. It does not. It does not benefit China for us to go down. It does not benefit China at all.
Not direct.
No, it just does not. Anyway, I gotta shut up. But I could talk to you about it. Anyway.